everyone. So now that we have our ISO photos in Lightroom, we're going to go ahead and crop them. But before we do that, I want to take a closer look at what we shot. So let's go in. And right off the bat, you're probably thinking, well, these don't look that different. I'm not understanding what the big deal is with ISO. Well, it really becomes a big deal when you get close in and look at the details. So knowing this, if you're going to post these online and these photos are only ever going to be like seen on a phone, then maybe ISO isn't that big of a consideration. But if you ever decide you want to print an image or maybe use an image for something else, let's say you get into a little bit of graphic design, you want to use it as a background, maybe crop in on a piece, having that highest ISO isn't going to look that great. Let me show you what I mean. So let's go ahead and let me get into the develop module. And before I continue, I do want to point out that I think it's on my settings. I don't think it's a setting that comes with everyone's, it's not already preset, but in my settings I do have a little bit of noise reduction set. So I'm actually going to take this down so I make sure that we can see the differences. Okay, so I got my noise reduction, my color down, and I want to apply this to all of my photos. This is a really cool trick and we're going to use it again. So I have my first photo selected. This is the one that has the settings that I want to apply to all of my photos. So I'm going to hold down Shift, click on the last photo, and now this button turns into Sync. Once I click Sync, it lets me see all of the different settings that you can apply and sync across images and decide which ones to actually apply to the rest of the images. I'm just going to leave them all checked. I mean, the only thing that I'm really worried about is this noise reduction. I didn't change anything else, so it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to go ahead and click Synchronize, and now the noise reduction has been taken off on all of these photos. So now let's go ahead and let's look at this photo at 300%. And you can choose different percentages here, but let's go ahead and take a look. And I'm actually going to come right over here to this really dark area. Actually, let's go to this area. And this is a really good representation because we have dark areas, we have light areas, so we can see how the ISO is affecting each. So right now this image is looking pretty good. Let's go ahead and look at the rest of the images. Actually, I'm gonna switch all the way. So this is ISO 100. I'm gonna switch all the way to ISO 25600 so you can see what a drastic difference it is. Okay, ready? Oh man. Okay, so now you can see that there's all these like speckliness, all these weird colors going on. You don't have that smooth, nice look anymore. So this is what ISO does. You pay a price, basically an image quality, for having a more sensitive sensor. So I'm just going to go ahead and click through these, and you can see that at the highest we had like the largest amount of noise or grain and more color, weird color stuff happening. Oh man. Wow, wow, wow. And so you can see that it's reducing and reducing as we get closer to that ISO 100. Alright, so now you're probably thinking, well, why didn't you just use this? What's the big deal? Well, here's the thing, is that yes, this is helpful, and there's going to be situations where you have to shoot with a high ISO. Concerts, sometimes at night, if you don't have like a tripod, stuff like that. And so when you have no choice, then there is something you can do, but it's not ever going to completely replicate what ISO 100 does. So let me show you what I mean. I'm going to switch to this view here. So we have a reference and an active view. And I'm actually going to, so this is going to be my active view that I'm going to actually be working on. And for the reference view, I'm going to throw in my ISO 100. And is it going to let me go as close? Maybe not. Oh darn. Okay, so let's go ahead and just try to get about, well, it's still giving me really close. So let's go ahead and play with this. So when I take out the color slider, which I think this part really works nice, it takes out all those weird colors. I use this for all of like my concert photography and such. Like if I have to use high ISO, I can at least take this stuff out. And you can keep going. It just basically takes out more and more of the color. I just take the slider up until all of those colors are out of that area, and then I stop. Now there's also a noise reduction right up here. Now this helps out a bit, but the problem is that it starts to make your image look blurry. So let me go ahead and take this up. Alright, so the grains are starting to go away, but you could see how blurry it's starting to look. Let me switch back to the other view, and then we can look at the ISO 100. We can both see them at the same size. So there's that one. There's that one. So you can see there's more detail in here. This is just looking like a blurry mess. Let's go ahead and get out of here, and you can see just overall on the whole image it's starting to look really blurry. Not nice and crisp and sharp anymore, not close to this. So even though yes, there are fixes to help, you're not going to be able to get that same look as if you would have just shot in ISO 100. This is also one of the reasons that a lot of our cell phone photos look pretty bad. Low light, high ISOs, small sensors, so that makes the situation even worse. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and come back and reset my settings. I'm just going to go ahead and click reset. Oh, but I forgot that noise reduction. It resets all the way. So I'm going to take that down, and now we're going to get our images ready to turn in. So let's go ahead and crop. I'm going to crop in. So right up here we have the crop tool. It's this little box with the dotted line. And I'm going to choose for the aspect or the ratio, your crop ratio. You have some different options in here. 1:1 is square, so one side is the same as the other side. 4:5, 5:7, all these ones. You can even make your own custom presets, which is pretty fun. Okay, but I'm just going to go ahead and stick with the 1:1 for now. And I really want to make sure I'm looking at, actually I think it was, whoops. Command Z undo. I'm gonna go in right here because that's where it was like really apparent. Oh boy. Okay. Well, let's really get in there because you know these, what you're turning in are kind of like you're making your own cheat sheets. This is really for you. So now when you look at this document, you're going to be able to see, oh wow, that's going to be the differences in my ISO. All right. So now that I have that done, I'm going to go ahead and hit return. And there's my crop. Now I want to apply the exact same crop across all of my images. So this is the first image I have selected when I do the sync settings is what the settings are going to be synced from. So as long as I have this one selected and then I select the rest, you'll be good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and hold down Shift and click on the first image. They're all selected. I'm going to click Sync. I'm going to click Synchronize. And now they're all cropped at the same place, at the same ratio. Awesomeness. Alright, so now that that's done, let's get over into the print tab. And so for me, I ended up with 9 photos. You might not have ended up with 9 photos. It just kind of depends on the capabilities of your camera. So, but since I ended up with 9 and I'm all about things looking nice and stuff, I'm actually going to switch it. So instead of having a 2x4 grid, which would only give me 8 photos anyways, I have 9 photos. I'm going to do a 3x3. So let's go ahead and, whoops, click there, 3, click there, 3. And because 3x3 is a square and I'm working with squares, I'm going to make my whole document a square. Stay with it, right? Okay. So right now my custom file dimensions is 11x6. I'm going to go ahead, let's try, well, I'll just go 6x6. Sure. Okay, awesome. So now I'm going to select my first image, hold down Shift, select my last image. There they all are. Now, what is going on here? Oh, it's a little bit long for that line there. Oh, it's bothering me just a little bit. I'm like that. Let's see, can I change that real quick? How can I change that? Well, maybe I can't. Oh well, it is what it is. Emily, you got to deal with it. All right, so now I've got this ready to roll. I can go ahead and print to file and get ready to turn it in. All right, guys, so I hope you enjoyed learning about ISO and seeing the dramatic difference in it. Yeah, next we're going to be moving on to some more